Welcome to Chaotic Harmony. My name is John.
This is Crystal.
I'm Mark.
I'm Zoe.
We talk about the joys and the challenges of teaching music in the elementary school classroom. We share inspiration, we share struggles, we brainstorm solutions. We would love to have you join us.
And today what we're going to be focusing on is the thing that you might use, you might not use, you've probably heard of, called Twitter. It's been something that's been very big amongst our VAPA cohort down in Chula Vista. So just start straight off. Why Twitter? Why do we use Twitter? What is Twitter used for?
I asked that question so hard 2 years ago because I've never used Twitter. Sure. I feel like Twitter is something that people used before I even got social media, and I've never understood it. I always thought it was just way too short of a form. I'm too long-winded for Twitter. And I've never been on it before, but our VAPA coordinator held a whole PD session about how she wanted us to post on social media and specifically Twitter. And she wanted us to showcase our VAPA programs. Just
a show of hands. Who used Twitter before becoming a music educator? Just show your hands. Don't speak it.
This is a great segment for those listening.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Verbally, yes. But really,
John and Zoe.
Who has used just?
So you guys
Twitter?
did.
Yeah.
I barely used it a little bit. I had a little bit of a.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, pound it.
Okay. So, but yeah, similar to you, Crystal. Like it seemed like it was. As someone who loves writing prose, it was awkward switching over to Twitter. Was that similar with you and Mark, Zoe, in this situation?
Oh yeah, I think trying to get into tweeting in the Twitterverse, it was one of those things where I didn't know, and I didn't know a lot of people who used Twitter, and like I kind of understand the function and how easily your tweet can be seen from anywhere.
Yeah,
and so like for me, most of my social media accounts are sent to private. Like, I don't want anyone to be able to see what I'm doing. But with Twitter, my Twitter is very much available to showcase.
Yeah, so my impression of Twitter kind of was from my mom. My mom is a social media queen and much more savvy than I am on social media. And she is parts of lots of communities on Twitter. And so I had this kind of like political view of Twitter, and I'm not really that way. And so it's been really great being on Twitter as a teacher, having a teacher account, because I don't have to engage in that part of Twitter. Yeah. You really choose what you see. And so
teacher Twitter is like a whole thing. Yeah.
So what do you use Twitter for? It seems like you guys are talking about showcasing. Showcasing what exactly?
Yeah, it's purely music education advocacy. So all of us, we've talked about this in previous episodes at length about how we have started up music programs from nothing, from scratch, where there was absolutely nothing for 30 years. And so a lot of our administrators and parents did not grow up in music programs themselves, and they have no idea what an elementary school music program looks like. So I use Twitter as a peek into my classroom on a daily basis into what are we doing? What are we creating? Why are your kids coming home excited? And why is this teaching valuable? And why is this program valuable?
Yeah, I completely agree with Crystal. Mine's just for advocacy of what we're doing at my school, to be able to showcase my students. And I'm very aware of the language I use on Twitter, not necessarily like inappropriate language, but just the students check out what they're able to do. And like for me, it's a platform on their behalf where people get to see what they're capable of, because at my school it's very isolated and a lot of our students don't have opportunities to kind of go beyond their home or school, and so it's just an opportunity for them to be seen, to be heard, and just kind of to be known a little bit outside of the school. Not personally, like I don't mention student names, but just for people like, oh, well, at Montgomery, that's something that they do.
Yeah, is privacy an issue with you using Twitter? I'm sure, like you say, you mention your students' names, understandably, but still, you're using are you recording videos? Are you showing pictures? Are you just writing text? What's your approach exactly?
All of the above. So I make sure that at the beginning of the year, when the packet goes home that has all of the things that parents need to read, to sign, and to come back to the school, that there's a media release form in there. And so I'm very aware of what students have media release forms, what students don't, like to the point where I have every class roster and I have every student who doesn't have one like noted. And so I'm able to go and be like, oh, this 4th grade class has this student, this student, and this student. They don't have media release forms. And so I just need to be conscious and be very aware of who doesn't. And so if I take a video of that class, I make sure to blur out all faces and you can't see. If I have media release forms, there's a chance, depending on what we're doing, that I won't blur out the students' faces and just allow the video or the photo to kind of speak for itself. Because there are sometimes expressions on the kids that you want to see. Like there's joy that they might not get from sitting in math class.
Well, joy and concentration. Yeah. That's the thing. Like you watch how focused they are, and that's a really powerful thing for people to see. So we do the same thing, and we're very clear with parents at the beginning of the year. We try to get parents in as many meetings as possible from the beginning, and we talk to them at parent-teacher conferences. Our teachers just spell it out really clearly. Like we have a really active Twitter account for both the school and for the VAPA program. And so if you sign this media release, you're giving us permission to put your child's likeness on social media. You can find it here. You're welcome to share it yourself. We encourage you to. We won't use identifying information, but their face will be on there.
Sure.
That's pretty cool. So it's not just you as a teacher, but it seems like your community is very much supportive of showcasing what your students are doing on Twitter.
Yeah, my principal's very, very, supportive of it. And so it's coming from her. She tweets a lot too.
It's like the same case with you guys, Zoe, Mark?
At my school, less so. Like as a school, having social media accounts. So like at first this year, I was just doing like text tweets, and I noticed like there's so much less activity when it's just text. So like I try and do like photos of what's going on, and that seems to help a little bit. Yeah.
And my principal is fairly active on Twitter. We have a school account, and then she has her account, and I have mine. And we have several teachers who aren't as active as, say, the principal or I am on Twitter, but they do get on and they do tweet things, and big events they're tweeting, and which allows for retweets to happen and whatnot. So there are some teachers who are fairly active on it.
That's cool. Sadly, it's on my school side, it's just me, so it's a little different. But when you're on Twitter, though, like what's like some of because you shared talking about retweeting, talking about advocacy. Who are people that often see this stuff? Who are you advocating towards? Is just like the mass conglomerate, or are there people that actually often follow you?
I have a lot of parents who follow my Twitter feed, and that's been really helpful. When we were first learning how to hold our bows this year with the kids, I held a Twitter contest. If you tweeted at me with your bow hold with a pencil, then I had a prize. So we did that. It was really cute. Some of them took me up on it. Not very many, but a couple did. And what I like to do is, we all experience that moment in class where everything's going right just for a second. And it doesn't happen long sometimes, but there's always that perfect minute. And so when I'm in that moment where we're jamming and things are going real well, I whip my phone out, and all you need is a 10 or 15 second clip.
Yeah.
That's it. Nobody's going to watch a video longer than that anyway. They don't care. Seriously. And the nice thing about Twitter with the videos, and it's the same for most social media platforms anymore, but the video plays without sound when somebody's scrolling. So if it's colorful and it has happy kids and they're engaged and they're playing instruments, that looks interesting. So I have a lot of board members on our Board of Education who follow and retweet. And one of them who retweets me a lot was recently in my school for a campus visit, and he made a point to come find the VAPA hallway and come into the music room, and he walked in and he said, "I love what you're doing on Twitter." And I thought, how neat is that?
That's awesome.
Yeah, to have somebody who didn't know very much about the arts or arts classrooms. He's one of my biggest fans now. Yeah, and I think it's getting the word out a lot, and it's giving us a lot of performance opportunities and grant opportunities.
Yeah.
One of the things that I am aware of is I try to tag at least one district official
There you go.
in every tweet, whether it's our superintendent or someone else. I'm always trying to tag them just to be like, hey, we're relevant. This is what we're doing. And I've gotten likes from district officials, from people who've invented apps and all these kind of random things, and people who I've never met before who teach music in Virginia, and so it's been cool to kind of see who gets to kind of see what we're doing. And again, it's focused on showcasing the kids, not necessarily showcasing my skills as a teacher. But I'd you could think I'm a good teacher, you could think I'm not. Like, your opinion, while you're valid to have it, like, it's not going to define who I am. I'm going to continue to do what I think is right for my kids, but just to kind of showcase what they can do and their skills. And if it's to your liking, great. If it's not, that's okay. There's probably a music program that you think is it's great, whether it's mine or not.
I know, like, we talk about advocacy, which is super important with Twitter, but I think something you brought up was also important. I've had so many music educators follow me from different parts of the country,
and
also the world.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this in previous podcasts, but just the importance of knowing that you're not alone is vital as a music educator, not just for encouragement, but also for lack of a better term, competition. Like, you see what they're doing. Oh, I want to try that out. Competition has connotations I don't want to go into, but it's still the idea of inspiring you to do more.
Spurring you to be better.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And whenever I see an educator doing something that looks interesting, that I get a good idea from, I always, give them a like and a comment. Comments are so much more valuable than likes.
Sure.
It means a lot when someone takes that time. And then if it's really good, I love to PM them and just say, hey, thanks so much for sharing that idea. I'm going to use it in my music room. And that has made some really neat relationships. Okay. I've swapped a few messages with a couple of teachers over in England and in Australia. And we recently had a visitor to our classrooms from Canada, who was taking a year off, teaching music, and she saw what we were doing on Twitter and wanted to see us in real life. So she came down for a visit.
Wow.
Yeah. We've had educators from LA come on down, make the 1.5-hour drive down in Chula Vista. We've been followed by a lot of arts education, coalitions, nonprofit foundations. And it's really neat that, our little 10, 15-second clips are getting some attention.
Yeah.
Guys, these are great tips.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if, someone's listening and they are like, oh, I don't want to be on Twitter. Like, it's too difficult to set up a Twitter account. Like, what advice do we have for those people that are like, just getting started? Like, how do you choose a handle?
Make it your name, or make it something that. Yeah. Mine's my school.
Yeah. I select my Twitter handle because I was involved in a couple different musical things. And so I was teaching at 2 schools. I was teaching an after school program, and I was showcasing all of them. And so I was, rather than making it a specific school name like Crystal did, I just opted to make it Mr. and then my last name, Keehmer. And so because there's a variety of things that I'm showcasing, and so that's kind of how I landed on my Twitter handle.
Same here. Keeping professional is important. No one wants to see numbers.
Right.
Mr. Cool Dude 05. No, we don't want that. But also, similarly, like, you don't know what's going to happen, and you might end up teaching somewhere else. And so that's why I personally opted over to Mr. Seligman. Fortunately, that was not taken. But yeah, starting with a handle, it's doing something professional. But other tips, something that you noticed yourself and you mentioned, text is great, but when people are scrolling through the numerous amounts of feeds that people are showcasing, having an image or a video is going to capture their attention much more. Yeah.
Oh, hey guys, what's your favorite hashtag?
So the one that I find gets me the most connections with other music teachers is hashtag mused, so MUSED.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I found that's interesting. And I'll often use both that and hashtag music education. Hashtag strings is really good. Sometimes I'll do orchestra, but that tends to get more professional orchestras, and that's not really my my demographic.
I've never seen music ed. I've seen music ed. I've seen music education, but never music. Interesting.
Seems to be more international, to be honest.
Fair enough. I know the arts matter is very specified, but if it's the people who are looking for the arts matter are looking for good stuff, and so it's not just this broad, like you said, orchestra is more professional. Music ed is pretty broad. You might be drowned out. The arts matter is small, but those who are searching for that will see your stuff.
I think also in addition to that, we have one for our district. It's CVESD Arts.
I use that all the time to see what else.
Every time.
In almost every single tweet I have, that's definitely a hashtag that I include, regardless of what the platform is, if it's as long as it's art specific. And I think one of the things that, if you're starting or you're just kind of new to the Twitterverse, especially if it's for your professionalism, is be aware of your language that you use. And no one really cares about my personal preferences. And so like I'm super conscious about what even I like, because it shows on Twitter like, well, Mr. Seligman liked this or whatever. And so I'm very aware and conscious of things that I use my professional Twitter account to like, and also to interact with. Like, no one cares about my political stance.
Yeah.
That's like, I have it, great. You have yours, great. But I'm not going to share it on my professional Twitter.
Right. Yeah. Keep it about work. Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
Keep it about the kids.
And it's one of those things where I want, if a kid's parents looks at it, I want them to see what the goal behind it is, and it's to showcase kids. It's not to promote anything that I believe.
Well,
that like my professional platform.
And I completely agree with all of that. And we've talked before about how our philosophy when we're presenting music performances at school is we don't speak during performances. We allow the kids to take hold. I approach Twitter differently, and I will put my phone on a music stand because I think that it's really important that my community sees what happens in my classroom, because I am queen of the castle in my classroom, you know. I am running the show. This is not just happening by magic. And we're all good at what we do, and we all have a really solid teaching process, and I think that that's important for our administrators and our parents to see, so that they can see that their kids get a quality arts education. So I do a variety. Like sometimes I'll do the kids performing by themselves, but I do try to get myself in there teaching as often as I can.
Then, so you said you placed your camera on a stand, which is
a
great
music stand.
I've taken that idea myself, but when you are recording or taking pictures of your kids, do you just leave it there? Do you do an activity, see how it goes, place it there, I'll
tell them, all right guys, this is going so well, I want to show your families. I'm going to put my phone up here, we're going to do one take, let's give it our very best. And it's like a final performance, and then I can actually tie it into National Core Art Standards because we just did a performance, and so I can go through the performance strand of the standards and check off a few boxes, like what did we do? And then the kids can watch it and self-assess. How'd you do? What can we do better? Which is also a standard.
Yeah.
Also, another thing, like for those who would never use Twitter, the user interface is strange, but ultimately, just remember, it's not so much you're trying to respond to someone; it's ultimately just you are speaking to everyone else. And don't be. Take courage in that. I feel like take courage in the fact that you're sharing what your kids are doing. I think if you ultimately make it for the kids, it's
With that, I will say that you're going to get in front of a lot more eyeballs if you do respond. And there's a hierarchy in how people respond to the way you engage. If they take the time to leave you a comment, I really think that you owe them a comment. That took time, you know, that took them clicking on it and they said something and they thought it was important enough to type something out. It's like, you know, it's not just tapping the heart. And so responding back, I think, is just common courtesy, and giving them a full sentence with punctuation is even better. And if it really meant a lot, then you're going to build a better relationship, and you have an opportunity to by sending them a private message, whether or not they respond. And I have a policy that if somebody reaches out to me, I need to be the last person in the response thread. To keep that door open, you know. So that's me. That's how I approach it, and I think that it's built some really important bridges and gotten me some partnerships that I wouldn't have today if I hadn't just it doesn't take that long. I'm not saying like spend hours on social media, like don't do that, but if somebody's interested in what you're doing, then reach back out.
You try to meet a quota? How many tweets you put out?
One a day
One a day?
during the school week.
Yeah, I try to get 2 or 3 a week. My last month, I've not been great at that.
It's been a tough month for all of us. Let's be real here.
End of the year's rough.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect at it,
Yeah.
but that's the goal.
Yeah, I try and do one a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that really helped me get that is on one of my weekends, one of the days on the weekend, if I find myself with some extra time, I'll just draft up a bunch of tweets and then just save them. And then during the week, I'm like, oh, I need to tweet today. And so I'll just look through a draft and boom, just click it and do it. And so I don't have to really edit, create a tweet. I just...
Yeah. Structure is important.
Yes.
So I find that making it a habit to tweet at the same time every day is helpful. So right before recess usually is when I do it. So we release for recess, in the late morning. And so just the last 10 minutes before we clean up, I'll say, all right, you guys, what's the best thing we did today?
Right.
Maybe we'll rerun it, take a quick snap of it. Yeah. And then throw it up.
Knowing what time you post is important because, for example, I try to aim for either before school starts so that, people who are going, settling into their classrooms are looking through it. Sometimes not, but I've seen that's done a decent job. Sometimes during lunchtime, times that they're actually using their phone away from work, essentially. It's found successful.
Yeah, it has more time to get more traction if you post in the morning or afternoon.
Have you ever tried any other social media platforms?
For music teaching, not as much, but I do have a couple other jobs. And so I utilize social media for other businesses that I have, definitely. But Twitter is been the most helpful as far as teaching music is concerned. It's the easiest way to share videos. Sometimes I do have a YouTube channel. I use that to communicate with my families, though. And I put sub plans up on it. And I'm doing a summer series for the kids where I'm putting challenges and projects up there.
Cool.
There's not a lot on YouTube, so you can find me, but it's not very much yet.
Okay. Cool.
A lot of people use Pinterest too to share
That's
ideas.
true.
Yeah, I have Twitter as my main. I've seen other teachers use Instagram and use Instagram effectively, but I am just not. I'm not there to use multiple platforms to promote us. Our school has a Facebook that I try to be interactive with, but I'm rarely on Facebook. And so Twitter's for me and what I do in the classroom is fairly just the only thing that I use.
I feel like the audience for parents, for me personally, is on Facebook, Instagram.
Oh yeah, for sure.
However, just for those connections of people you don't know, because you don't need to be a friend of person A in Washington to post something for them to see it. So I think Twitter is just that great way of reaching out to people you don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and if you get your parents involved with finding your tweets, it's very easy to share a tweet on Facebook. So I will, I tell them, I tweet almost daily. So if your kid had VAPA, you can check Twitter and see if they have anything, and then it'll get shared to other platforms.
What is the most craziest response you've received from the Twitterverse?
I often don't find out very much from Twitter itself. I'll find out in real life when people show up later. So to me, when I had somebody find my email address on the district website and say, I've been following you on Twitter for 6 months and I'm from another country, can I come observe your classroom? That just floored me.
Wow.
And it's now happened at least twice. This last year. So
similar situation. That was like strange in a great way. When I think that same teacher from Canada. Yeah, it's like she just emailed me, "Hey, I like the stuff you post on Twitter." Okay, come on in.
Yeah. There's another one from England too that we've been going back and forth a few times.
Nice.
So yeah,
I've had the Canadian teacher, and she came to observe one of my classes.
Yeah, she found all of us.
Yeah. But I've also had another teacher within the San Diego district. They reached out and they're like, "Hey, I saw this. I love this lesson. Could you share it with me?" So I sent it over and said, good luck. If you have any questions, let me know. And it was a good conversation, and
definitely
they got something.
Yeah.
Nice. I had a student from my first year of teaching find me on Twitter.
Aww.
Yeah, it was pretty cute.
That's really cool. And I think that that it can be a really positive thing for them to get to show off what they do.
Definitely.
Yeah. It's basically another performance platform. That's how you can look at it. So if the idea is overwhelming, I just would love to encourage you. It doesn't have to be. Keep it simple. Utilize hashtags, hashtag music education, hashtag mused. If you have a district or a school hashtag, use that, because all the hashtag does is it collects tweets that use that hashtag. So it's a great way to click on those, and you can find other music educators who are using those as well. It's a great way to build your own community and build advocacy for what you're doing. And I know that that our tweets have been in front of eyeballs of a lot of people who would not just wander into our music rooms.
Right.
Very true.
But they intentionally seek us out now because they know what we're doing. And they're excited about it.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
I think that's a great way to end off. Thank you, Crystal.
Sure thing.
So we're going to do the hard left turn towards the spiccato. Oddly enough, in my car, I saw something. It's like, I've never tried this before, but I think I like this. I was drinking some, makeshift Ramune. It's a Japanese soda, and I want you guys to...
It's in an aluminum bottle.
Yes. So what would you do with this guy?
Not a can. A bottle.
My first thought is to use it as part of a like a random percussion circle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Stomp style.
kind of, and like everyone would find an object, and this could be an object, and they have to figure out a way to play it. So whether they grab a pen to play it or use something that they have.
Because all synths will ring.
Hey, you don't know if they're married or not.
This is true.
Yeah, but just use it as a piece in just kind of like a trash band type thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I've done a unit the last couple of years on recycled instruments, and there's a great documentary called The Landfill Harmonic.
Yes.
Yeah, it's about, I think it's Peru, but it's about an orchestra that's built out of recycled instruments because the community is very poor and they can't afford real string instruments, so they made them, and they're amazing. So the kids bring in their recycled materials, and so this is a great bass. I'll bet it. You can get a nice sound out of it by blowing across the top. It still smells very good.
It is.
Paraguay.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah,
I just got a waft of that
It's
smell.
from Paraguay. I know, it's very mangoey.
It is.
Smells delicious.
I have a fun story about that orchestra.
tell.
So I interned at the Kennedy Center for 3 months, and they have this awesome stage, Millennium stage, where they have a free performance every day of the year.
Oh wow.
So I went with my supervisor, and it was Land Philharmonic, and I was like, this is the coolest internship ever.
How amazing.
It wasn't always like that grand, but they really have they brought their instruments all the way from Paraguay. This one I would love to see turned into a recorder. No, I'm just kidding. But you could, right?
You could. Oh, what do you call them?
Durder.
Durder.
Oh,
Durder. Be a durder.
So there's two things I thought of when I saw this. First off, you can fill it with water, and as you turn it, it alters the pitch.
Ooh.
So that's one thing you can do. Or a little more advanced, taking the bottle cap, and as you flick it into the air, it has a nice sense of glide. So as it goes up, you can sing it up. As it goes down, Laban, exactly.
Always coming back to Laban.
Actually, no, it's not just for movement, but also for singing itself. So you flick it, it has it's just like when you do a slide
lift,
whistle, or
yeah.
exactly. So good warm up use. So
I like it.
It's cool.
Well, guys, should we end with a round?
Let's
do it.
All right, round of the week. Round of the week. It's a classic. It's a Ram Sam Sam. We all know this one, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Ram sam sam, ram sam sam, gilly 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 ram sam sam, ram sam sam, ram sam sam, gilly 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 ram sam sam, Rafi, gilly 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 ram sam sam, Rafi, gilly 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 ram sam sam. Ram sam sam.
Ram sam. Okay.
To end. Ram sam sam.
Folk song, so always changing it. All right.
Ram sam sam. Ram sam sam. Gilly 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 ram sam sam. Ram sam sam. Ram sam sam. Gilly 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 ram sam sam.
Ram sam sam. Ram sam sam. Gilly 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 ram sam sam. Ram sam sam. Ram sam sam. Gilly 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 ram sam sam. Ram sam sam. Ram sam sam. Gilly 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 ram sam sam. Ram sam sam. Ram sam sam. Gilly 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 ram sam sam.
Ram sam sam, ram sam sam, gilly 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 ram sam sam. Ram sam sam, ram sam sam, gilly 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 ram sam sam. Rafi, gilly 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 ram sam sam. Rafi, gilly 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 ram sam sam. Thanks for the assist, guys.
You got it.
Thank you. Guys, since we've been talking about Twitter,
Yeah.
where can we
Find us on Twitter.
Where can our audience find us, Zoe?
At Ms. Kumagai.
And I'm at Finny Vappa.
I'm at Mr. Keehmer.
I'm at Mr. Seligman, MrSeligman. And guys, please feel free to ask us questions, see what we're doing, and let us know what you're doing. Also,
We'll follow you back.
We'll follow
follow
us
for
back.
Yeah,
follow.
totally.
Okay.
And if you have an idea for a future episode, tell us what you want to hear.
Certainly.
Yeah, thanks for listening. The Chaotic Harmony podcast is a joint project between Crystal Pridmore, Jonathan Seligman, Zoe Kumagai, and Marc Keehmer. You can find us online at chaoticharmonyclassroom.com. You can email us at chaoticharmonyclassroom@gmail.com and let us know what you think. Give us feedback about what you would like to hear in future episodes. We're on all the socials. Find us on facebook.com/chaoticharmonyclassroom. You can find us on Twitter at @chclassroom, Instagram at chaoticharmonyclassroom, and you can even find our episodes on YouTube. Chaotic Harmony is the name of our channel. Special thanks to Brian Pridmore for his help with production and equipment. www.pridmoria.com. Super intimidating. So the goal for me of this episode is just to be like, look, it's not a big deal. Just pull your phone out and tweet.
Don't be dumb.
Don't be dumb.
Can we just leave with that? This is about Twitter. Don't be dumb. I'm Mark. You can find me on Twitter. Don't be dumb and don't be a
So much time.
What's trending on Twitter right
It's
now?
less than 240 characters. We got that.